drained off, run over twice, and they say it was no problem. They're selling this property because it's been repossessed. So I presume we're going to activate the sewer tank again and listen to people tell us how there's no problem when sewage runs down to our ditch again. I brought pictures of the brush. It's on county property. It was dumped on there by the owner of the land. Your county people saw it. They knew it was dumped there. Now they don't want to clean it up. But it's on county easement. It's not on personal private property. They do not have any trash pickup, so they're not going to pick it up either. Red Rivers, they missed us 3 weeks now. We're working on that still. We have a speeding problem out here. You put in 3 speed humps for us. Now they drive around them at 60 miles an hour. There's pictures, y'all can have these too, of ruts in my ditches where people lose control driving in the ditch. Your drainage in the ditches, when they did the street and repaving out there, they were supposed to put the drainage all down to the drainage canal. We have a real high ditch in front of part of my property. We've got ditches down there that weren't even dug out. Some of them are dug out so steep we don't mind cutting them with our lawnmowers if we can get them in there. But when you drive a tractor lawnmower in there and you turn it over, then that's not very safe. So the county needs to do something. They said ever since the road was finished, they're going to put it, every time I talk to them, we're going to put it on the work order. That's all I hear. We're going to put it on the work order. That's about all we've got out there. It's just a lot of problems that we can't, going to get it on the work order. They're going to get it done. Never going to get done. I can't get the public information to submit to you on this Commissioner's Court about that septic tank. I got part of it. The real important part is who signed off on it and who allowed it to be covered up. Didn't get that. That's felony in this state. Somebody can, get fined or draw a little time over that. Falsifying state records and state inspection reports. We can't get copies of that. That's public information, but we cannot get a copy of it. Now, I went through the state, I went through the county, and the environmental people in Harlingen, excuse me, it is definitely like talking to the wall. We don't get nothing done out there. It's an old colonial. I met my wife in '81 and married her. The street had been put in a few years before that. We just now got a new street out there recently. Up to that point, they never did anything there on that street, in that neighborhood. And now we're having problems with them picking up brush, and all, so our neighborhood looks great. We have drainage problems. We really got some bad drainage problems. We have a hurricane, we're going to have a problem. I'll leave these pictures though for y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Pete, let me give you this. It's got his phone number on it. Why don't you follow up with him?
We have his number.
Is it your precinct?
Yeah, we have his number. We talk to him every day, actually.
Okay.
Invited him to the meeting.
The other thing on the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And we do have the petition request for you, Mr. Smith, that you requested. The petition request to remove the speed humps is ready in the office if you'd like to pick it up.
I'm sorry?
The petition request on the speed humps is ready and available for you.
I'm sorry.
Okay. We'll give you a call tomorrow. We'll give you a call, but we have the petition request that you submitted for in regards to removing the speed humps is available at the office. You had requested that... No. The request has to be done by the community and signed off for. Just like when we put them in, to remove them, your neighbors all have to agree that they need to be removed. We can't Mr. Sepulveda, that's the process, right?
You know about the speed bumps?
Right.
I'm not gonna try to remove, y'all need
Okay.
to stand up alongside them, put something alongside them, keep
Yeah.
them driving around.
Yeah, okay.
Because if we remove, they go back to driving.
Faster.
100 miles an hour.
Right.
We're on the street today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're there.
It's a bad situation out there, and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
In fact, I drove along my tractor bore in a ditch, and a man hit me about half an inch
Yeah.
coming around one, and he thought it was funny, he laughed at me.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Presentation of resolution items, consideration and adoption of a resolution honoring Judge Robert Gatz on the occasion of the retirement from Cameron County Commissioners Court. Here, motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item 3, consideration and adoption of resolution to open 63 bank accounts with Texas State Bank. David?
The resolution allows me to, since we have a new depository bank at Texas State, it allows me to open the accounts and sign and checks and any other financial matters that we have with that bank.
All right, do I hear motion for approval? Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Consent items.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Are there any items that any member of the court wishes to take out of order and discuss separately?
Judge, on number 6, we need to identify a funding source. And speaking to the budget officer, within the Parks Department, we have enough lab salaries to cover this cost, and so that's one option that the court has. The other option is to utilize lab salaries from the general fund.
You want to take that one out, or, let's go ahead and we'll discuss that one
Okay, and
separately.
then number 10 needs to be tabled.
10 we take out?
Tabled.
Any other item from any member of the court?
How about 17?
Anybody want to talk about 13? Or is that one with the,
13, 14.
13 and 14 are the concession agreements that with the beach service, Mr. Brommer is
So
here.
those are ready?
Those are ready to go.
So
okay.
we don't need to take them out then?
13, no. You said 17, Commissioner?
17?
Okay, anything on travel? I noticed that the items that Commissioner Wood was asking about the last time didn't make it back on, or did we approve those, or answered your questions?
Well, I haven't got the question answered. I actually talked to Mark the other day in the hall about whether, and
So, well, it didn't make it back, it's just they're not back on.
the question was pretty simple, but maybe they have an answer, but if it's not there, I don't know how we can answer.
As far as putting them back on the item, if I remember correctly, what the action that the court took was they went ahead and approved the items, but just for the question that Commissioner Wood...
I don't think so.
Which one was that?
I don't think they were approved, the items regarding the travel for all the district courts. Commissioner Wood had a question as far as the...
As far as the registration fee.
The fees, I think we approved all of them but those, and I think I made the comment, we had enough time for them to bring them back.
That's my understanding, that the court tabled those
Right.
to bring them back. I saw them that they weren't on this agenda. They'll be on next week. The court reporters are sending me a written explanation of their participation in the state organization that gives them a $100 discount on their registration fees. The registration fees on a whole are a little bit more than what they have been over the past years because the national conference and the state conference are being combined, and it's costing them a lot more, the participants, to be in this joint conference.
I don't think we were questioning the amount of the cost. What I was questioning was, we had 6, if I recall, that had one rate for the registration fee and 3 that had $100 more.
Right.
As if they were not members of either the state or national organization.
It'd be a little difficult to prove a negative, but I can prove the participation of those 6 who had the $4.90 rate versus the $5.90. I can prove that.
I'm not asking for you to, go down and prove anything, just find out if they filled them out correctly. If they are, then that's fine. If they
Right.
haven't, then we need to get them corrected.
We're going to bring that back up next week.
Okay. Don't put all the backup material. That was 1,000 pages of paper.
Okay. If you just want the front page, we'll do that.
17, go ahead and approve.
Thank you.
I'll take my question off of that.
Commissioner Gatsa has requested item 17 stay as part of the consent. Anything else on travel? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve of consent items 4 through 18 and travel items 19A through 19L with the exception of item 6? And we're tabling item 10. Item 6 having to do with the payment of $10,000 is pledged by Cameron County to Ocean Trust.
Second.
In item 10, tabling a contract between Cameron County and Montoya Concrete work for foundation work at the security wall. Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Do I hear a motion to go into executive?
Can we do number 6 and get it out of the way?
Okay, let's do number 6.
And you did table 10.
Yes, ma'am. Item 6, consideration and approval of payment of the amount of $10,000 is pledged by Cameron County to Ocean Trust for restoration of the Bahia Grande project. In the backup, what I saw, this was approved sometime back. It's coming back again, and I think the only issue, the issue is that of funding, whether you want to take it from lap salaries out of the park system or lap salaries out of the general fund. I would suggest we take out of the lap salaries out of the park system.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Judge, can I just say a few words real quick in pertains to the Bahia Grande, since we're...
A few? All right.
Since we're in the subject,
All you want.
I just want to remind you and the county commissioners that this Friday, we're going to have the dedication at the Bahia Grande. And a couple of years ago, we made several presentations before different entities from the Laguna Madre to try to get some funds for a matching grant to construct the 2 channels that are being constructed now. Hopefully, they'll be finished by Friday. The channels, they're going to be connecting from Bahia Grande to Little Laguna Madre and from Bahia Grande to Little Laguna Larga. So Friday's dedication is going to open those channels and provide water into those 2 lagunas. It's going to be a big dedication. There's people from Washington that are coming down, and they're, this project is basically well known. And I'd like to thank, you and the Commissioners Court for all your support on this project.
Got it. Thank you. Just a quick question on the travel, Pete. On y'all are going to precinct 1 and you're going to, with the Texas General Land Office, what is that all about?
This is regarding the letter we received from the GLO on the reimbursement for beach cleanup application.
Okay, is a hearing already set up for that day?
No.
So you're going up for what?
We're just going to meet with the staff from GLO and try and see if we can work something out.
Before the appeal process?
Right.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session? Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item carries. Item A, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Rodil Morales Hidalgo versus U.S. Marshal Service in Cameron County, Texas, civil action number B-05313, for discussion and possible settlement pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A and B. Lastly, item B, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Alberto Huerta and others versus Carlos Garcia and others, action number B-07CV-39, for discussion and possible authority to represent Oscar Tulos in his individual capacity pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A. Commissioner Wood, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item A, confer with Commissioner Court Legal Counsel, Rodil Morales Hidalgo versus U.S. Marshal Service in Cameron County, Texas. Do I hear a motion to, acknowledge report of counsel and have him proceed along the lines, terms, and conditions as discussed in executive session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Alberto Huerta and others versus Carlos Garcia and others. Do I hear a motion to authorize our legal counsel to offer defense for former JP Oscar Tulos?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Budget amendments, line item transfers, and/or salary schedules. Do I hear a motion to pass? There's no action, there's nothing. Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Wood, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 23, approval of minutes.
Move to pass.
For what day?
There are none there.
There's none. Because I don't know there's
Move to pass.
no minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Wood to pass on the item, there are no minutes. Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 24, approval of county claims. Mark? Anything?
Just the ones you put on our,
There's some additional claims. They begin with check number 183-155, Cameron County Jury Fund, and end with check number 183-158 to Vulcan Construction Material.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve our county claims with addition of the ones that Mr. Yates just passed
So
out? Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wood, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Abstention on warrant 00183000, turned in the affidavit already. Thank you.
Okay, please note Commissioner Gatsa's abstention on that warrant. Item 25, discussion and possible action on temporary contract negotiation regarding the performance of autopsies for Cameron County. Commissioner Gatsa,
The only report is we had a meeting this morning, Dr. Claus, and that led to a subsequent meeting that we're waiting a call back from. But I do wish to remind this court that Valley Baptist will cease providing those services at the end of this month. So
we should be ready by that time, right? Should. If not, let's hope.
Yeah.
All right. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge Commissioner Gatsa's report?
so moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 26, consideration authorization to post request for proposals for health plan administrator, stop loss and aggregate employee assistance program, access to preferred medical provider organization, and prescription drug network for fiscal year 2007-2008 with prescribed change by Commissioners Court. If y'all recall, we talked about this last week in reference to adding an agent. I would suggest, I spoke to Mr. Villarreal earlier, or I guess last week, and asked him maybe to give the potential proposers both options. Did he tell you that?
Yes, he did, and
You want to explain that a little bit?
Sure. For the record, my name is Ken Wethy. I'm the independent consultant engaged by Cameron County for this special project. At the direction of the court, we prepared an RFP one way, which would be the use of agent services. And then there's a second option, which is just exactly the same as the first, except that we have added a statement that would be, the county desires to receive proposals with and without agent services. Insurance companies or service providers are requested to submit separate proposals for direct services without agent commission and also for agent services. So it can be a choice, one or the other. Then you would have the opportunity to evaluate the added value that an agent might bring as opposed to the direct services and the type of services on a direct basis. So with this, I think we can have it both ways. This is self-funded, so we have a number of services that are involved in this RFP. Insurance just being one of those products. Then there's the administration, the large case management, utilization review, the provider network, which is very, very critical. When we get into some of these services, there will be just a very limited number of providers. When we get into the network, we might only be talking about 3 or 4 independent networks that contract with third-party administrators, or we may have just a few insurance companies who do it all. And so I think with this, we give some flexibility, and you can accomplish what I understood was the objective last time, is to be able to allow the agent to provide his services and then judge those in the evaluation process.
Right. Any questions?
The only question is that I thought we were gonna go with agent services, period, after last week's meeting.
Well, yeah, we talked about it. When I talked to Manuel Villarreal, I asked him to give us the option of doing it the other way. If the court only wants to go strictly with agents, we can do that, obviously, but I think it gives us the opportunity to see how much we're paying these agents.
Well, we'll know how much they pay because on the contract and the RFP, you have that there. It's part of the RFP. You will know what the monthly fee per individual insured is by any agent that bids for the insurance. So it's a segregated amount.
Yes.
And all of that is known by all of us as to what that cost will be for the service.
But if we don't RFP it out, we don't have the opportunity to award it to an insurance company without an agent. This way, it gives us the opportunity to do either or. Either we do it with an agent or without the agent. I want to see what that number is specifically, but also at the same time, give us the opportunity to, if it's a lot of money, and it's going to save the employees some money, to not to have to use an agent.
Correct.
That's the, I mean, obviously it's the court's wishes, but I think it's not going to hurt anything by getting both RFPs, unless I'm missing something.
All you're going to do is open the door wider.
Well, it's going to give us more information.
Correct.
You know, so, I mean, I don't see what the downside is by asking for both.
I can tell you that if you were to do a survey of counties, there are a large number of counties that go direct, perhaps through the Texas Association of Counties or just contract direct. I know of two in East Texas that I do that with. In this area, there are a number of public entities that go direct. But certainly there are services provided by the agent. I heard you all very strong the last commissioners' meeting, and this would allow you to see those services. It would allow you to see, if it were to go direct, will they be able to do some of those things that you said were important, such as a service representative. Today, with Mutual of Omaha, you have a service representative in this area. So if you have technical claim problems, that's a source that you can go to, and then you can also use your agent to ratchet it up. But the first line, I believe, in your procedures is you go direct to the service representative. And then if there's an issue, then you'd ratchet it up to the agent, I need some more help.
Yeah, unless there's a downside that I'm not seeing. You know, I don't know why we would not want to have that latitude.
I can't think of a downside, and
you know, we can always nix it. I mean, if it comes back and it's just, you know, if the prices are competitive or equal, which I don't think they will be, then we can take that approach. Mark, I know we've talked about where we have the employees' contribution to some of this thing. I think we've had it there for a while, haven't we? And I don't know where the fund balance is on that self-funded. I haven't looked at that.
At year end, September 30th, our fund balance was a little over $500,000. That's above and beyond the 3 months run out. That's not sufficient where we need to be. We just received a number of specific stop loss payments. I need to look at the program again to see where our fund balance is. We've received over $500,000 of specific stop loss. I know that at the time we had receivables about $1.3 million, so I think some is still coming in. But our fund balance is not real strong at this point in time.
But okay, you don't know what it is now, you just know what it was September
right,
last
because
year,
we were
almost a year ago.
Because of some of the legal issues regarding whether we had a contract or not, the stop loss payments, the specific stop loss payments were being held up until a resolution. And then once that occurred, then the payments started coming in. And so I need to see if they have all come in. I believe we received $500,000 to $600,000 in payments so far, but I haven't looked at it in a week, and I need to see if more have come in. Because we were about $1.3 to $1.5 million in possible receivables. And so at that point in time, before we started receiving those, it was a real strong cash problem for us to meeting our obligations. I was at below $200,000 in operating cash alone. So I need to look at that one more time this week. I'll send y'all an email tomorrow, or actually the following day, telling you exactly where we are, where I believe we need to be. But I don't know where we are right at this moment, no.
Okay.
You'd figure that in getting prepared for this RFP, that type of information is going to be requested by everybody that will be responding to it.
Right. As a week ago, I knew how much we had received, and it was a real strong problem for me meeting cash flow issues. I knew that the legal issues had been resolved, and yes, our fund balance is going to be some of the deciding factors on where we go, because if we go to a new company, there will be 3 months rent out, and that will have a factor on whether we can afford to keep certain rates in place. But I can report to you on Wednesday what we've received to date, if that's possible.
Any further discussion? Do I hear a motion? You want to table it?
Is Manuel here?
Manuel? No.
He's not. I wish he was here, and I hear from him.
I just thought we were going to go out for a regular agent service policy as we have in the past, period, after the discussion last.
Well, the only thing that I asked was that we do both. Okay? That's only mean, we're going out for the one with the agent, and we're also going out without the agent. So unless somebody can tell me what the downside is for doing both, then it's not going to hurt. We still can make a decision when the RFPs come in to go strictly with an agent, if that's what the court wishes. I don't see what the downside is, trying to seek both of them out.
It'll be an open RFP process. It'll be posted on the website. Everybody will have access to it. In addition, purchasing is developing the vendors list from prior years, and there'll be a notice sent out to agents as well as insurance companies saying it's on the website, and it's an open market.
If we have a company come in, if we ask for both ways, with an agent and without an agent, if we
Yes.
have a company come in without an agent altogether, and that's the only proposal they make, do we just throw them out?
Well, the way it's worded, it's saying with or without to allow the company to make a decision.
I understood it was being worded, a company presents it to us in two ways, one way with, the other way without. The same company makes the presentation. That's what I understood the judge to say. Otherwise, we don't know what to throw out or what to keep in.
Let's take a practical example. Texas Association of Counties. They do not work through agents. They represent Blue Cross. Technically, you might say that's an agent representing Blue Cross, but they will say there's added value.
Are there added fees?
Pardon?
Are there added fees?
Yes, and if we were to get a quote from Blue Cross Direct with TAC, Texas Association of Counties, with a local agent and Blue Cross Direct, you could see, here's price direct, here's price through TAC, here's price locally with a local agent to represent them. So that would be one example. The other example, perhaps, the administrator for the city, which is Texas Municipal League.
That's why I'm asking if a company only makes a presentation without any agents, without any other entity, like TAC, like TML, just directly to us, do we consider that one? Or do we throw it out because we're going to be asking them to give it to us both ways, with an agent and without an agent?
I would hope that the overriding principle is what is in the best interest of the county, and that you would evaluate and make that judgment after you've seen how they score, price as well as service. I can't tell you, but you're the ones that tell me what the rules are to be, and I will follow those rules.
Thought we told you last week.
I did too.
Well, there's nothing wrong with adding things to the agenda, as we know. But I think that the issue is, I wanted to see, now if y'all don't want to do it, that's fine, but I don't see what the harm is in asking, give us a proposal with an agent or without an agent.
Yes.
I mean, I don't understand why the apprehension is there to look at it both ways. I don't understand that.
The apprehension to me is serviceability to the folks that they're receiving in. We have had, in the last 6 years that I know of, very good service to the individual that comes to me and says, Commissioner Garza, I have a problem with this bill not being paid. And we have had representatives locally that have been available for the folks. They have monthly meetings at which they are there to discuss, to visit with. If that doesn't help, we have had an individual that we can call and express a concern about, that is a local citizen of this county that pays taxes, that understands that we're trying to provide our employees with a good service in making sure that they get coverage for what belongs to them as that policy is presented.
Well, I understand that, but I don't see how this is diminishing that. If you're getting that proposal, plus you're getting another one, I don't see how we're confining that. I mean, I don't see what we're doing to preclude somebody from doing that by asking companies to provide us with an agent or without. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, nothing's going to change. We haven't awarded anything yet. We'll be able to look at both of them. Whenever somebody has a problem, I think they call the 1-800 number and, they get the service. You mentioned earlier that Mutual of Omaha has a local rep,
Yes, that is correct.
right? Is that a Mutual of Omaha rep or is it an agent?
No, it's a representative paid for by Mutual of Omaha. In addition, you have the local agent service, which is providing another aspect of service, like what you're relating to, and I would see it as contract issues and claim appeals to help the employee, or perhaps a walk-in where that employee is close to the agent's facility.
Yeah, I don't know, unless I'm not seeing something, I don't see what the difference would be to get two proposals, with an agent and without.
That's what I'm asking. Are we formalizing this to where we are going to get two proposals from the same company? One proposal with an agent, one proposal without an agent. If we don't, are we just going to get, say, some company just wants to make a proposal without an agent, but not with an agent? Are we going to throw that one out if we're asking for an insurance company to make it both ways? And you said, no, we're not. So I don't know.
Well, I would suggest the or as opposed to...
Yeah, I think the or is in your proposal, right?
Yes.
It's like, let's assume, for an example, Mutual of Omaha wants to make a direct one, and then you have an agent that wants to give their proposal using Mutual of Omaha. That's the only thing we're getting. So Mutual of Omaha is sending us a direct proposal, then we have an agent that's giving us a proposal utilizing Mutual of Omaha.
Well, but Mutual of Omaha, according to the way we've got it written, can only use one agent.
That is correct.
We can't have 5 agents representing Mutual of Omaha.
That's what we talked about last week.
Local agent.
One local agent.
Now, as a practical matter, Mutual of Omaha will not be in the bidding process because they've withdrawn from the group health insurance market. Now, there may be a successor company, I don't know, but...
We're just using them as an example anyway.
It'll be some different company.
So I guess a little word either or and is what we're looking at.
I work for you, and it's the commissioners...
Well, I mean, I want to do it to where it's, number one, it's competitive, number two, that the employees get the best service for the price that we can afford.
My professional judgment is, my professional recommendation would be the or as opposed to and, because I feel you're restricting the market, and in my experience, the idea of an open RFP is to be as open as you can to allow as many options as you can. And if you put a restriction in that they have to do both, I don't think they're going to do that. In fact, I think it'll be just a few that may come in direct. I don't think we'll see that many direct. I think you'll see a good number come in with agent services. But that's to give you the option to look at it.
Pete?
Judge, I get a question for the consultant. How would we evaluate a proposal that has an agent and one that doesn't?
Well, in the RFP, we asked for information about the agent and where his office is and how many years' experience he's had and what his cost will be. And then, same thing for the insurance company. We will look for information about his staff, and then we'll be looking at the cost. And so I see it being a couple separate line items in evaluation dealing with the service aspect, direct versus
So are you saying
agent.
that you would have two instruments for evaluation purposes?
Oh, excuse me.
I'm right over here. I may be confused here, but that would mean that we would need two different evaluation instruments?
No, we would have one instrument, and on that instrument, it would have...
The category.
Proposals come in. We're going to have two proposals come in. One would be the direct, and there'll be a line there for the services. Where's the service office located? How many years' experience with the person that's going to do the service for the company. Then there'll be another proposal come in with the agent, and then there'll be in that same couple of lines in the evaluation form, there will be answers to those same questions involving an agent. So then you can do side by side, here's what I'm getting with a local agent compared to the service provider providing those services.
However, the service provider does not have to submit a proposal with a local agent.
Well, let's talk. This is not fully insured. So if I come down to the network, they're not going to go through an agent. They're going to go direct. They're going to go through the third-party administrator. That's the relationship. If I'm dealing with a stop-loss carrier, I want him, this is based on my experience, but as I'm evaluating, I want him to have a relationship with a third-party administrator, because I don't want you guys strung out 6 months to a year trying to collect your stop-loss recoveries. And you've had a very good situation, except for the deal involving momentary contract issue. You've had a very good repayment by the insurance company, where it's processing the claims, and then within a couple of weeks, you get your money back. And as opposed to going through a separate entity, the stop-loss company, and then they do their adjudication, and they've got a different hat that they're wearing. They're not trying to find ways to pay the claim. They may be finding ways to challenge the claim. So that can lead to some timely issues. So you want to have a relationship established between the third-party administrator and the stop-loss company. The agent will probably play a very little role in that aspect, but when you get into a problem, you can call on him, and he's got his relationship perhaps also with that stop-loss company, and so he would be at a higher level to help you out. But the day-to-day stuff is going to go on between third-party administrator and the stop-loss insurance company. When we get into the utilization review, the large case management, that's going to be a relationship between that provider and the third-party administrator. Maybe the third-party administrator does that himself. And so you will not have agent services related to that. Where the agent services tends to show up is on the administration side to help you with those claim issues or things that ratchet up into a claims appeal or a contract issue. So back to where will we see an agent compared to the service provider? It'll be mostly, in my opinion, on the ASO side and not on the other products that we're looking for. And so that's the reason we asked for the agent's fee to be shown as a line item on the ASO submission form. I hope it didn't confuse you.
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
You know, it makes sense to be able to call an individual versus a 1-800 number.
Sure,
Where
sure.
you hit this number, on
Yeah.
hold, and at the very
Yeah.
end, it's, we're overwhelmed with calls now, and we'll listen to you later. Please call back soon after being there 10 minutes waiting.
Or send us an email.
Yeah, or send us an email. That's always combined with it, and that's my issue with it.
And I'm going on vacation and no one's here to cover for me.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or I move, change jobs, whatever.
If I could also input, we've got a relatively tight timeline. The objective would be to release the RFP as quick as we can, and hopefully that could be Wednesday when you return to business. And then we would like to have those back July 16th, which would be a Monday, to allow evaluation. And when we get into the evaluation, a critical part is going to be the network. And we're going to need some time to get confidential information related to the contracts. So that's a key item that's going to involve some study and analysis that will not be in the initial material coming back to us. So we've got a task ahead of us. And then the end result would be to bring it back to the Commissioners Court for you to review in early August. Target was August 6th. And the contract effective date is September 1.
I still don't see any problem in soliciting both. We're going to have an opportunity to award it to somebody with an agent or without. It just gives us that latitude. Nothing's changed other than say, hey, throw it out also without the agent. I mean, so I don't see what the downside is.
Yeah, everything is the same except for page 2, and it's just with that "or" statement.
So nothing on the RFP chain with the exception of that little,
Yes.
that phrase?
Yes, with or without.
Which part's not going to change? What I'm reading here is, in several of these, is if agent services are to be used, that would, if I were a company, I'd say I can or I don't have to. The agent compensation is to be on a per employee per month basis and is to be reported an additional fee on the submission form.
Right.
So,
That statement appears with or without
yeah,
the agent commission.
So what it says to me is, if I'm an insurance company, I can use one or not.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
I think it's going to complicate the evaluation process, but it seems that this Commissioners Court likes to do that on a regular basis. Every time we're going to award something, you know, we can't just know when a contract is going to start, know when it's going to end, or know the term, or know the specific length or the specific amount, or how much the monthly rent will be. We have to throw things into them to complicate them, which then allows us to take longer in making decisions. Well, then we're going to have to decide, go this route, this route. You know, it's always complications.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
Does this, doing it this way, I think he's referring to the concession agreements. Does this complicate
other contracts,
does this complicate this process? Does it make it complicated?
Does the agent complicate?
No, this RFP, does it complicate
the evaluation process.
the evaluation process?
Well, you've got...
That's why I asked if there were two evaluation instruments. I was trying to figure out how it would happen, the evaluation.
No, it's going to be one evaluation instrument, and it will be multiple proposals to be evaluated. One proposal direct, the other proposal with agent. But we'll use the same instrument. I talked about having a line item, a couple line items, to evaluate those services direct or through the agent.
So are you saying then that one evaluation instrument?
Yes.
But there would be certain sections that would apply to a certain proposal and not to another?
Now, they're both going to give you service.
I'm still... I think so.
What other services we're thinking of? We're thinking of, do you have a local office? And that can be the local agent, and it can be the direct insurance provider. Do they have a local office? Are you available from 8 to 5? Are you available longer hours for evaluation? How many years' experience have you had in the health insurance industry? These can be answered directly by the insurance company, or they can be answered by the agent who would be representing the insurance company. You're going to have more proposals this way, and yes, that will complicate the process.
Well, but I think that's what you want. I mean, you want to have as many proposals as possible.
You're looking for competition, yes.
I mean, that's the deal. I mean, who's going to be, let me ask you, you're going to be involved in the evaluation, right?
Yes.
Now, is this something that you've never done before?
No.
Okay.
I've been doing it 25 years.
Well, I don't mean, in this type of scenario that we're talking about.
Oh, no.
Okay, so.
Webb County, I just did something like this.
It's not anything, I don't think, that's going to be, as Commissioner Thurman would say, rocket science at times. I mean, you know what you're doing. You've got, my goal is to obviously provide, I think all of us, provide the best service we can for the employees, try to keep those costs minimal, and I think that's the deal, because, we've kept the same prices passed on to our employees for years, and we've been able to do that. So all this doing, just giving us some latitude and then some options.
Yeah.
We can always stick with the agent if that's the best deal, and, we want to pay $2.50 or $3 a person. I mean, I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but at least let's look at some alternatives if we decide that, hey, maybe we don't need to have an agent. I know about the 1-800 number and all that stuff, but I don't know how common that is. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how often we have to go through that process. But I just don't see that there's a downside to this by opening it up to several viable and good insurance companies. I just don't see that.
It's interesting. On some proposals, I've been silent as to whether it's to be an agent or not to be an agent. And I'll get direct quotes, or my client will get direct quotes, and they'll get them with agents. Different companies go at it differently. I mentioned.
Who else will be on the evaluation committee? Are you going to be doing it by yourself, or you've got?
Well, I'm getting to know y'all, and I respectfully go to the people I'm reporting to, which would be a combination of the purchasing department under the auditor's office and the civil attorney, as well as our HR department.
We have a standing evaluation committee set up.
Pardon?
We have a standing evaluation committee set up.
Yes, that's what they mentioned, using that. Perhaps you will be the person will be the coordinator of that? Sure.
Well, we do, and we can use them. However, this is a specialized.
It's highly technical.
Yeah, it's
We might have to.
You could say that about.
But there's judgment involved, and I really like to have the input of
You say it about bank
your
accounts
standing
too,
committee.
but we didn't change it there. We didn't even have the treasurer on the one reviewing the bank accounts. So,
He
were
was
you going to do it one way or the other?
I'm sorry?
He wanted to be.
He was at the meetings.
He wasn't voting, and he didn't get to evaluate. He was just there.
Yeah.
He wanted to be an evaluator, but he was told no.
Yeah, I don't want to take all the heat. I want to share it with the standing committee, and
We can use a standing committee, we can use whomever you want to appoint. The point is that we need to get people that have some kind of background, whether it's on banking. I think you want to have people that have a background in that. I think you want to have people that have a background in insurance and numbers and things of that nature. And if the standing committee wants to do it, that's fine. If you want to appoint another committee, that's fine as well. I think the point is you're going to be probably the lead person on that.
Right, I'll be the facilitator and the technical advisor, and I'm here to work for you and give you the advantage of 20-plus years. really 30 years in the insurance industry.
All right, any further discussion? Am I going to get a motion, or we want to go on to item 27 and forget about it?
Well, we gotta do this, you know?
Yeah, we have to
Waiting for a
move on it.
motion.
It won't help to do it.
I move that we go out for bids with a local agent, just like I wanted to do last week.
Okay, we have a motion to...
No indoor, just local, I mean...
To go out for
the way-
bids using only the local agent concept. Do I have a second?
This is not gonna preclude TAC from bidding on, right?
Well, you give me the direction. I recommend that you not exclude TAC, yes. And
Okay.
so...
But if you don't include...
And so TAC would not be a local agent, so
Yeah, I just think just open it up. I mean, just open it up and just...
it makes it cleaner if you just,
Yeah, let the proposals come in. We can always, if any member of this court wants to sit on the evaluation committee, you're more than welcome to. I mean, just open up the process. I mean, why limit it to just agents? But anyway, we have a motion.
Well,
I have a little bit more discussion. Your response to, will it slow the process or whatever, the only reason that would happen is that we'd have more. Am I correct?
that would be correct. We'd have more proposals, yes. The instrument would not change.
Better. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
I retract the motion, and if it's that big of a deal, we'll complicate the issue and we'll go with whatever proposal we have before us.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Garza to submit the RFP as presented by our consultant. Do I have a second?
Well, I'll second that, but I would not second complicating it. After hearing all this discussion, I feel that we're opening the door to perhaps getting a better deal, better deal for the county.
Well,
Have fun with that second.
I have a second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Item carries. Item 27.
thank you all very much.
Thank you for your patience. Consideration authorization to increase slot 07, Fund 150-621 from $35,093 to $39,000. Commissioner Tamayo, this is yours.
Keep up. I had some discussion, but we'll go ahead. Do you have something to present, Pete?
Judge and Commissioners, what we want to do here, and I believe you should have copies of the job description, is change the job description for one of the foremen and increase the responsibilities to that foreman to where we would have monthly training sessions with the other foremen and employees on the use of heavy equipment, machinery, construction standards, and other safety standards associated with road construction. That would be an increase or a change in the responsibilities to that position. And then we also passed out a salary schedule with a proposed increase in salary for that position.
And I would like to make that motion, Judge.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner...
So this position is this a new person or what?
No, it's one of the existing foremen from the Harlingen area.
So you're gonna have him train in the other areas?
That's correct, yes.
And do you have a schedule already, Pete?
It'd have to be a monthly training that we'd have to set up with the other foremen from the other areas, but do that on a monthly basis.
So you're telling me the other foremen don't know how to do those essential functions in the other precincts? Because at least in the area that I come from, those are standard operating procedures that have been occurring for 4 or 5 years.
No, I think, what I'm saying is that, there's always room for improvement, and if we can provide training to our employees, to our foremen, then I think at the end, that'll be an overall benefit for the county.
Well, we have safety officers that do that on a regular basis, or a safety officer, right?
We have a safety officer that does safety training. I'm not sure that they get involved in actual training for the use of heavy equipment, and how to operate that machinery.
And what kind of certification does this individual have to do that training?
It's got the CDL license, that is required, for any equipment operators, and then the experience in handling, the equipment.
Well, this is like opening up a new job for me, as far as I see this. And if that's the case, I think that you ought to post it, you ought to allow any of the foremen that we have now be able to apply for it. And then, you know, if we're gonna create a new foreman or a new type of foreman that has all those responsibilities, we should give everyone an opportunity to apply for a new job.
Well, I think this was just a matter of adding more responsibilities, and in fact, Commissioner Garza, I think you're well aware that this foreman that we're discussing is from Precinct 4, and he has been all over the county helping in different areas, and you know, he does his job in Precinct 4 with more miles than anyone else in any precinct, plus helping out in other areas. He's been at Bounty Park, which is in Precinct 1. He's been in Port Isabel. He's been in Laguna, I think it was the park at Laguna Heights. So obviously, I would think that if he's asked to go all over the county at various times, I guess he would have more expertise than other people. Why would he be being pulled from Precinct 4? I think he more than deserves that kind of actually it's a promotion. It's not a new job, it's a promotion.
But I can say the same about the foreman in Precinct 3, Commissioner Tamayo.
Has he gone all over the county?
Wherever they call him, he'll go. And Pete has made request of him as the Department of Transportation person in charge. I don't think that, as a matter of fact, I've been in Precinct 4, you know, on a somewhat regular basis whenever they're called out there. So.
Well, I think the documentation should speak for itself. This foreman goes beyond, and I'm not saying that any others wouldn't, if called upon, but his job description with that addition, I mean, it's not even what it should be, the added salary.
I believe he's worth the salary, but I think that, you know, I mean, we all have foremen that work out there that are as much as deserving of the salary. You know, they all deal with the same issues on a daily basis, at least in the area that...
I don't know about the fact that if you compare what each of them supervises, I think you realize that this foreman has a lot more responsibility, and then in addition to that, he's pulled to do some other duties. So I stand by my motion, because I think that I wouldn't do this if I didn't think he deserved it. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think that it's the fair thing to do.
And I think it'd be fair to open it up if it's a new position we're dealing with. I think that if we want to evaluate foremen, I think that they ought to be all evaluated across the county. And they're probably underpaid compared to the industry standard, and we should look at it. But the budget process starts in a month, and we need to look at all of them at one time.
Well, since you brought that up, Commissioner Garza, you're right. We need to look at who's responsible for what, and I'll give you an example. And I think I can discuss it under this agenda item. I'm looking at figures here on roads. Precinct 1 has 51.33 miles of county roads. Precinct 2 has 75.79 miles of county roads. Precinct 3 is a lot larger. That's yours, Commissioner, 201 miles, .36. Precinct 4 has 447 miles, .89. You can add all those miles together, and they're still not as much as Precinct 4. And this foreman has shown that he has the ability to supervise and to handle this job besides being pulled to do other things. So, again, I stand with you that we have to, in the spirit of fairness, we definitely need to look at this. Either we divide the county differently to where foremen have equal responsibility of miles, or the foreman that has more should get compensated for that. I agree with you, Commissioner, that we need to look at this, but I cannot believe that I have sat here as a commissioner for Precinct 4 and have not been more aggressive about addressing this problem. And I think it's high time that we look at it and do something about it. Now, I might not have the answer right now, Commissioner, but we need to address this. And there's Plan A and Plan B. We can either say, all right, we'll compensate them according to how many miles they have, or we redesign. County administrator can redesign and say, don't look at precinct lines. Each foreman, if they're going to get the equal pay, will get equal miles to be responsible for.
And I don't have a problem with visiting that. My only concern is that it should be across the board.
If I recall, when we went doing the budget process for fiscal year '06, we looked at the road crewmen and the equipment operators. We looked at those two categories, and we raised those salaries, accordingly. We did not look at the two other positions, which is the assistant foreman and the foreman, because when we did that, we also took into account the mechanics. We've got 4 mechanics at the San Benito warehouse, and those were also dealt with when we did the budget for fiscal year '06. But again, we did not look at the two top categories, which is assistant foreman and foreman.
And please, I'm not saying they're not, worth that amount, because I know that if they go to work for any one of those big construction companies, they'd probably make twice as much. But I think we should be fair to all of them.
And that's exactly what this is about, Commissioner Garza.
No, this is
about
You're
fairness.
talking about your individual, and you want to raise one person there. I'm talking about equal opportunity employment. Let everyone have. If we're going to do a new individual to do this, you're giving him more work, and he's already overworked. He's got the most miles.
We've got 50% more miles than you do, Commissioner.
Yeah.
And definitely more than the others.
Right.
And this individual is capable enough, and he's done a tremendous job. He's not here asking for anything. I'm here representing my area and the fact that this gentleman does an excellent job, and he deserves some kind of compensation. And if this isn't going to work, then I want to make sure that we look at fairness. Then let's divide the miles. I'll be glad to give Precinct 1 some of the miles, and Precinct 2. If we're centralized, then we go that route. You combine 1 and 2, Commissioner, and like I said, that's 127 miles. You've got 201, and you're still not close to me.
No.
I have 50% more than you do.
We did agree about a year ago and increased the number of folks considerably.
But
we have
not
more.
By 4, 1 crew, Commissioner.
1 crew, which is a lot.
Well, yes, but it's still not enough.
No.
It's still not enough. This is a lot of miles. And I think what's happened is that just like I have not gotten aggressive about this, for years, people that sat in this chair did not get aggressive about fairness in the county when it comes to public works.
I think it's very evident that the northern part of the county was always a stepchild to the
Well, and that's why I'm being outspoken, and I will continue to be outspoken.
And I will support this if you consider all of the mentioned items that Commissioner Tamayo said, including some of the other foremen that do a good job. And
I still say you have to go by miles. If we're not going to be fair about compensating someone that has, can you imagine the phone calls for 447 miles, the phone calls on a daily basis that these people get at the warehouse? I'm there, so I know. And I get some of them, but what do? I turn to the foreman, and he handles it. and he takes care of it. So I still say that, yes, all fairness, I think, I know your foreman, I don't know the ones in the southern part, because I'm not that close to Brownsville, but I know your people do an excellent job, Commissioner. But what I'm saying is, look at the numbers of miles. Those number of miles increase phone calls, it increases drainage problems, it increases all of the above. And I think that we have to be fair, and if we're not going to compensate someone that has more miles the way they should be compensated, then let's give the other precincts some of my miles. I'll go for that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Tamayo to increase lot number 150-621 from $35,093 to $39,000. Do I have a second?
Can I
I'll
second
second
my
it.
own motion?
I'll second it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, dies on a 2-2.
And mine is not a support of the individual, it's a support of all of those individuals in that position.
And I think that we bring this back and address it during the budgetary process with everybody. Okay?
Pete, I know that we've talked about this in the past, and, you know, I think the ideal situation would be to be able to have a system to where each individual can be evaluated on what they do and how they do it and how they get their work done, and have some latitude in the salaries so that the ones who do more and better work can be compensated appropriately, as opposed to the ones who perhaps don't have the abilities to do it. For example, I'm looking at the essential functions here. I would add a seventh item, concrete work. Right now, we're doing a lot of concrete work, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, things like that. We shouldn't have to be contracting it out. It's a lot cheaper to do it in-house. And I know that we're doing a lot of it. We're doing it over here at the county courthouse parking lot, all the concrete work and a lot of other concrete work. So there are lots of things we can look at, and I really believe that's the really fair way, and it also gives the employees an incentive to do more and to do better, to learn more, to be better educated and better trained, to be able to do the work.
But the bottom line, Commissioner Wood, is that the number of miles drive the number of phone calls, the number of drainage problems, all of that has to do with roads, with the road system.
And,
So let's say that all the foremen, and I don't know if they are or not, but let's say all the foremen are equal. They all have expertise, they all have all this, what we're looking for in a foreman. And the bottom line will be, how many miles are they responsible for? It all comes back to the number of miles.
Actually, I think the bottom line, which drives everything, is the monetary budget we have set up for public works in total. You know, and, you know, maybe it's all used, or, you know, it's certainly not spread out equally, because I don't have as many miles as you do. You know, more of that budget goes there, you have more people to do the work to get it done, and they do a good job of it.
Well, when you look at the formula, John, we might have more people, but not nearly what's needed.
But we don't have enough money either, what's nearly what's needed. We could use twice the amount of money.
I've had my say.
And keep everyone busy
Well, I
on the road.
support visiting this during the budgetary process and making sure that we adequately compensate the construction foreman or the foreman, whatever we want to call those individuals, and their assistants. In the last budgetary process, those two levels were completely left out.
Yes.
We did not address them at all.
But I want to go beyond that. I want to go beyond just compensating them, and I'm all for compensating all of them. But I go back to my original statement that either we pay the people that have more miles more, or we give away some of our miles, so that somebody else takes responsibility for those number of miles.
Or we eliminate some of we shift personnel
Yeah, or you shift
from one
personnel
precinct to
or
another,
something.
or even eliminate potential overhead that is not needed in some of the smaller precincts. All right. Item 28, consideration approval of proposed changes and time extensions for the Harlingen Annex project. Mr. Hinojosa, is that you, Pete? Hondo?
Hondo, yeah, you should have 4 requests, 4 different items that have been submitted. They're numbered at the top of the page. Number 20 is a request from Sheriff Lucio, and that amount is $2,860. Request number 23, this is a big, as far as price. Apparently, when the architects were doing the design, apparently the survey that was provided by the county did not indicate the location on where to tie into the sewer. And when the Texas Department of Transportation had gone and redone Wilson Road, they left the manhole, not sure what the distance is, but I believe it's around the middle of the street. And so this proposal is to be able to tie in into the sewer system. Proposal is for $14,000. Proposal number 24, this is a request from J.P. Gonzalez. And then the very last one, we actually don't have it in the proposal form yet, but it's from the Harlingen Water Works, and this is the impact fees that are required by the Harlingen Water Works, the amount of $4,384. Now, under this particular request, we have a balance in our landscape fund of, I believe it's like $6,600, so we have enough to cover this. The other request, proposal number 20, 23, and 24, we also have a balance in our betterment fund that we can utilize, and if all three of those proposals are approved, I believe we're going to end up with a balance in our betterment fund of a little bit over $15,000.
What was that total fee?
$15,000.
If the three proposals are approved, we will have a balance in our betterment fund of a little bit over $15,000. Hondo is here. You know, I believe we're pretty much down to the end of the project, and so I don't know if we anticipate any other changes, but this is what we have now.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood to approve the proposed changes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 29, consideration authorization for public hearing to discuss grant funding for the 2007 Justice Assistance Grant and consider possible use of funds. Do I hear a motion to open the meeting for public hearing?
So moved.
Second by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are in a public hearing. Frank, how you doing?
This is a new and improved version.
Improved. Revised.
Judge and Commissioners, the information I just passed out is identical to what's in your packet. The only thing I did was number the pages to make it easier to flip through. I didn't have a chance to do that before the agenda item deadline.
You were anticipating one of us would see it.
And I apologize for that. This year, the county has a JAG share award of $54,088 available to it. The information before you indicates that we received proposals from 8 county departments in the amounts indicated. I believe I saw most of those departments here tonight. I didn't see County Court at Law number 1, but they may be here by now. I think the individual departments would like to present their request to the court. As far as staff is concerned, if the decision on the use of funds, which is also on the subsequent agenda item for tonight, if you can't come to a decision tonight, we would like for you to come to a decision no later than next Tuesday in order to meet our July 2nd application deadline. Do you have any questions to me before we speak to?
Again, we have an issue of a lot of requests and a little bit of money, right?
Yes, sir. Or would you like for me to go over the...
We have $232,000 worth of requests, and we got $54,000 that we can utilize. I will tell you, I, as one, am very hesitant to use this grant money as supplemental items for salaries and things of that nature. At some point, we're going to have to pick that up if these monies ever cease. I'd like to see it, whatever the wishes of the court are, but try to use it for fixed asset type stuff, equipment, laptops, something, training mechanisms or whatever.
Right.
Because we can't satisfy everybody's...
In the past, staff has always recommended using the funds for equipment versus personnel because of the recurring costs that are associated with personnel, but it's the court's call. One final thing, I'm sorry. All the items that are listed here are eligible activities.
I passed out a little sheet. I kind of went through it real quick this afternoon and try to give everybody a little bit that didn't have personnel in there. As an example, Constable Precinct 5, $12,800, and I think that is strictly, let me find it.
Software?
Yeah, all of his is related to...
Software.
Yeah, to software. And of course, this is just what I threw out. The sheriff was asking for a whole bunch of stuff. I tried to give him a little bit, maybe just cut his request by half, and that totaled $21,500. The parks, giving him the 2 portable radios for $6,000. The Constable Precinct 4, he was asking for a laptop, and then Human Resources was asking for a bunch of training and something like that. That was like $10,381. That totaled a little over $54,000. The rest of it is was supplements to either personnel or the requests were eating up all the money, and so they go into one department. So if y'all have any suggestions, please. But that's what we got in front of us.
I noticed that Parks is looking to try to make their firearms uniform as opposed to, and similar to what the Sheriff's Department operates with. Isn't that correct? They use something different now?
That's the way I understand it. Mr. Mendoza is here to address his proposal.
Yeah, what they're doing, they're asking for $21,000 to buy 12 Glock guns, the ammunition. I mean, they're all worthy things. But if you give the park the 21, then you got to take away from someplace else.
Judge, if I may, Commissioners, in lieu that, I think that as far as the weapons are concerned, I think those are a little bit more needful. If we could go ahead and maybe switch we could go ahead and compromise and just go for the weapons, so we can go ahead and be a little bit more uniform with some of the other entities or law enforcement entities in the county. In case when there's ever heaven forbid, right, that there be a shootout or something like that, we would be able to go ahead and interchange clips to go ahead and continue to hopefully not...
What are y'all using now?
We're using 9mm Glocks. All the rest of the county entities and law enforcement entities are using .40 caliber Glocks.
So you're saying that you're asking for portable radios, and does that mean that the need for a portable radio is less than the clock?
At this point, yes.
Okay,
and the reason we asked for the 2 portable radios is just to go ahead and start moving towards the Project 25 and because we're going to go ahead and need them eventually, but not as bad as we would probably need the weapons.
Okay, so you're in the Parks mind, then you'd want to replace, and that's fine. I mean, the portable radios for the Glock and the ammunition.
Yes, Judge.
That would just about be a wash.
Okay. Okay, that's I got no. I mean, you'll have to get
Like a $700 difference.
Okay.
Less.
All right.
Judge, Commissioner.
You'd asked for a whole bunch of stuff.
No, first off, the sheriff, he wanted to be here, he apologized, he had a medical emergency in the family, he couldn't make it tonight, but he did want me to convey to the court that he would like to withdraw his two proposals and support the 138th District Court's judicial collaboration system, because it does have impact with what we do at the jail division and our new magistrate system and such, so if that...
Okay, so he's foregoing on the night vision and all that good stuff. I guess what bothers me a little bit, 1 minute, you know, you guys need this stuff, and next minute, wheel and deal, and you don't need it anymore. I mean, what's the deal?
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the 9,000 other than they did defer that to us on the...
All right, I mean, that's fine, I mean, that's what
But
y'all want to do, that's
on the
fine.
other system, I can, the 3D identification, when we looked at what the 138 was doing, we decided that was, you know, real important to the county at this time.
What is that? Can you tell me?
Well, I'll let the judge...
On the judicial collaboration system, that really is kind of a pretty name, but what it is a system whereby the public defenders and other attorneys can visit with their inmate clients through a video conferencing system. Hidalgo County has two of them now. Now, what is the impact on the county? First of all, in the 6 months that I've been, not quite 6 months, but almost 6 months, that I've been on the bench, certain things have become real apparent. That the Sheriff's Department lives with all the time, the DA's office lives with all the time. And that's the surge of gang activity and the gang rivalries that causes the management of inmates as being a high-risk issue, whereby a lot of times you can't transport them together because one may be a Bayuco, another one may be a Mexican mafia, another one may be something else, and they have open rivalries. So what this does is, at least in the last 6 months, I believe there's been at least 2 fights that I've been aware of between rival gang members that have cost the county money by hospitalizing, having them seen, doctor's reports and whatnot. So the risk to the county and the economic benefit to the county of having this collaboration system is to reduce that risk, to reduce the risk to our county employees in the sheriff's office and in the jail division. That is the upside of reducing the risk on that. On the other hand, we have an outdated public defender system. The public defender system that we should have had is one in which the same attorney who gets appointed at the very beginning of the magistration is the one who's going to defend him at the end. In the past, what we have had is a public defender contract system. And in that, each court has their own 1, 2, 3 public defenders that represent them, and a lot of times they don't meet them until the day of the arraignment. The upside to that for the county is that it reduces our cost. And when I've been looking at the budget and trying to figure out how do we meet the law requirements within our given budget without bankrupting the county, because it is about $1 million difference in terms of budget impact.
So, Judge, if we can, if the sheriff is willing to give up his 21.5 and yours is 32.18, Pete or Mark, can we find the $10,000 short that he's going to need to make up for that deal? You can find it?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Judge?
Yes, sir.
I think that is great, because I've seen that occur in some other counties, and it's a tool that can be utilized and save us some money and time. The only question for me would be, would this system only be able to be used in your office?
No, sir.
This would
It wouldn't be used in my office. Don't confuse this with the video conferencing and arraignments.
Okay.
That's a project we're working on.
You're right.
And the county's invested about $300, I believe, in exploring that possibility.
Yeah, but this is for public defenders.
This is for attorneys to visit with their clients.
Right.
And when I met with all of the public defenders, one of the things
But
that...
it's presented to me in this proposal as something that would be specific to your court.
Sir, it's only because the judges board appointed me to oversee the indigency defense.
Okay.
And I've spent this time in trying to figure out where we were.
I just want to make sure that...
How do we get there?
Yeah, that people understand that this is for all of the public defenders.
Oh, yes, sir. It's actually for all...
That's all I was trying to get you to say.
I'm sorry,
All right, so then,
I apologize.
We were
Okay.
taking it for granted that we knew that.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That's okay.
And
All right.
I
So then-
should have known better.
So there's,
Public's awareness, so.
all right, so there's a consensus then that all the courts will be able to share in this project. Mark, you can find the $10,000 within either the district judge's budgets, right? Okay?
Now, one other thing, and I appreciate this, but I don't want to lose this opportunity that I've got, and I'll try and be brief. This is going to require a T1 line to be dropped into the place where there's going. So it's going to require some physical space. If we have a T1 line dropped for future planning, I would suggest that it would be in the judicial building itself so that we can use that same T1 line for video conferencing and doing all that. Otherwise, it becomes cost prohibitive on a long-term basis. But it's going to require moving the Industry Task Force Coordinator to the main judicial building and having two visiting rooms attached there so that they can be supervised, much like Hidalgo County has.
How much is that additional?
It's a $560 a month cost, the T1 line. That's in the proposal itself. But the idea would be that we go out on the video conferencing arraignments and all that, we hope to go to the state. There's a separate fund that's been identified for us for that purposes.
But the $6,000 for that is in this $32,024, or we have
The
to...
T1 line is, the T1
That's
line
correct,
is...
560, I don't understand that.
Yes, sir.
But that's not in this 3284.
No, sir, this is
Okay.
the physical installation.
So this is another $6,700, basically.
A year, yes, sir.
Per year,
But we're gonna need that.
in order to do this.
We're going to need that for future planning, but more importantly, it also is going, I think we'll make that back up in the reduced loss. Hopefully, when we go to video arraignments and all that, if we're able to move in that direction, we'll be able to save substantially more in transportation reduction in cost. You know, so, I mean, we're going in one direction, but I need to warn you, you know, we're going to have a severe budgetary surprise if we go to a standard public defender system. And I just don't see how we're going to be able to avoid it.
No, we're going to have a lot of surprises this budget year, I'm afraid, but okay.
Well, hopefully, we'll be all able to work it out.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Constable Precinct 4, I was recommending the laptop, and then Human Resources, the training modules and all that stuff.
Judge, I know you were already not voting for us, but I just wanted to go on the record as to
Well, I
what...
just did it with just no personnel. I think those are ongoing costs, and these grants are best used for one-shot deals, and we can look at your stuff during the
Well,
upcoming
it's
budget.
difficult to go, and compete with our fellow law enforcement and the courts, but for whatever it's worth, I just wanted to state that the other grant positions that we rely a lot on grant positions for these type of activities. The one that we were able to get a couple years ago from Commissioner's Court for the position we had in the schools, when that grant expired, we did not keep that position, so it created the need again. When I read the paperwork on the grant proposal, they were asking for school involvement, which is what we've been trying to do when we came a couple years ago, when we did last year, and again on this year, even though it's termed as a investigator for family violence, because that's where we see a lot of problems. We see a lot of problems with that, and it filters into the schools. So part of the proposal that we had complied with that request from the governor's office to go into the schools, and we have hundreds, if not thousands of schools in Cameron County, so we obviously can't support all of them with one position, and we couldn't when we did before. But what we discovered on the earlier grants is that there's quite a need for it. Unfortunately, our office, because a lot of these cases are considered misdemeanors, we don't have investigators to go out and do the follow-up work or to follow up with the victims, follow up with a lot of the families that don't have phones, that live in the rural areas, that can't come to court, or they don't get the mail to come to court. So I just wanted to point out there is a need for it, and at our office, we normally, if we've learned our lesson from the past grants, we don't, if the money's not there when it's refunded, we have to let them go. Fortunately, 99% of the grants have been continued, renewed by the governor's office, including the initial family violence task force. So
like I said, we just wanted to let you know exactly what we were pushing, and again, no disrespect to any of the other constables or parks or the court system. We just wanted to make sure we put our plug in.
Well, again, the budgetary process starts in about 30 to 45 days, and, your request, as well as it needed, would have just wiped out this little grant that we had, so.
Okay, John. All righty.
All right. Tommy, yes? Judge? Did you have juvenile probation?
Yeah.
Same
Yes,
thing?
sir. Yeah, and I certainly respect and understand what you're referring to, because certainly in regards to the part-time position, and actually there's a typographical error, it's just one gang prevention officer that we were asking for that $10,400, and I certainly understand your position on that. I only wish that when we get the information, it would have been nicer if we'd have known ahead of time that the preference of this court was not to pursue staff positions. These are part-time positions, and we have a lot of seasonal part-time positions that we hire to run programs, et cetera, and people are hired knowing that, because we hire a lot of young people from the university to come and fill in a lot of our part-time positions. So when I went into this process, that was my intent. I knew this was not something that we would have to sustain by coming to you later and ask for more money, et cetera. I knew that was not a good way to go, so we chose not to do that. But had we known that you were looking to more in the terms of material investments, we would have submitted something with some computers to do some tracking, because we are looking to do some tracking of our children as far as where they're going in terms of the gang involvement and other such statistical data that helps us in the long run when we're putting grant proposals to the state and to the feds. So I felt I'm at a disadvantage of not knowing the mindset of the court.
Well, first of all, let me just kind of clarify something. I don't believe that was the mindset of the court. That was my mindset.
Right.
I don't know where we never talked about it, so I don't know where we're going to be. I think Mr. Bejarano is also indicating, I just totally forgot about that, where, in the past, it's been that we try to invest these grants in one-shot deals. Personnel, they're ongoing, and if the grant expires, then we're kind of stuck trying to pick them up, or you let them go. But I don't believe that was the mindset of the court. That was what I thought.
Well, and your mindset, Judge, makes a lot of sense, because the whole idea of, we talk about sustainability all the time, where those monies come from. You bring someone on board, okay, when the grant's over, then what? And it becomes a very
unfair to them.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes, it is. And so I do respect that, and of course, I fully support Judge Nelson's request. I mean, just in listening to what he was saying, you can see the benefit in the big picture of what that's going to be able to bring to the county in terms of savings and other more effective type things that would help, the court system. So I support his request, just as some of the other people did. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And I'm only asking for this because we've started a project that has put a little strain on us, because we started an intervention prevention program there at Cameron Park, because there was a lot of needs of young kids there that needed to have some intervention prevention work done there in the community, and we're working now with the families in that community, and I'm trying to get the Sheriff's Department involved in opening a satellite office there, along with the one that we opened up there to provide services for our families and our young people there. And so we're averaging about 75, 85 kids a day there from the community that we're providing these services to, and we were just looking for this. We saw this as a means of getting some extra help that we desperately need right now. So, but I respect your decision.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Is there any further discussion?
I move that we go ahead and approve the Justice Assistance Grant, and that is taking care of constable.
We actually need to close the public hearing, and then go to the other item.
I know, I just said, that's why I said any further discussion.
No, I don't want to discuss, I want to move.
All right. Okay, any further discussion? Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, item carries. Item 30, consideration approval of use of funds for Cameron County's 2007 Justice Assistance Grant.
Okay.
Your motion.
You're ahead of your time.
Just trying to move on. The 2007 Justice Assistance Grant, I move that we apply towards the Constable Precinct 5, $12,800, the Parks the amount necessary to buy their weapons and their ammunition. Constable Precinct 4, 1 laptop, computer, human resources, training materials to the tune of $10,381, and then the balance be applied toward the system that Judge Nelson presented to us, with the remainder being funded creatively by Mark Yates.
Got it. Look to, Mark, you're shaking your head. Try to find some loose money within the district or the court system, and if you can't, then get with the budget officer and try to find it from, I guess, from our lapsed salaries, if we have any left. Okay? Frank?
Were we short,
No, I think we're gonna be short probably about $9,400, $9,600.
second the motion?
Okay, there was a motion by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 31, discussion and possible action regarding the upper payment limit option for the indigent health care funds. We're going to put this off for, I think it's coming back next Tuesday?
The Health Department Director and myself are going to make a recommendation next week.
Okay.
Provide that in your backup then.
Do I have a motion to table for 1 week? Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 32, discussion and possible action regarding the county's federal legislative agenda. Do I hear a motion to pass? There's no action. Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second? By Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. There are no supplemental items. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. God save this honorable court.